Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the 56th edition of Data Bites, hosted by Public Digital. I'm Gavin Freegard, and it's wonderful to see so many of you online, but also here in Liverpool for our first ever Data Bites outside London. Yay! That was worth travelling 178 miles for. Thank you very much. Well, this evening you're going to be treated to 4 presentations on interesting data projects. Each of our speakers will have 8 minutes to present. Yes, just 8 minutes. There are 8 bits in a byte, hence 8 minutes in a data byte.
I'm here to speak about the Liverpool City Region Residents' Assembly on Data and AI Innovation. That's the last time I'm going to say that in full because it's a very long title. When we talk to people in the city region and we run a lot of public participation and engagement exercises with them, and we say, what are you most concerned about? Things like privacy and security come up, but the biggest thing that comes up is the fear that no change will happen. And this is a quote from one of our residents in Widnes, where she said that that is her biggest concern. You're going to collect all this data, all this information, and it's just going to fester on like a book in a library, okay? So when we talk about these dichotomies of, and I know I'm preaching to the choir here, data having this transformative impact for Liverpool City Region, and also data having these really genuine risks we have to weigh up. What residents want to see happen is projects and principles that make data and AI work for them. So our goal to start setting those kinds of guidelines to work with people to negotiate what positive looks like in the mix between techno-solutionism and pessimism was the focus of our latest project, which was to create a set of open principles on what trustworthy and beneficial data innovation looks like, deliberated and designed by our residents that will help inform future local projects that use data with an impact on people's lives. And we designed those principles using a residents' assembly, which was bringing together over 60 people with 6 sessions to debate the direction of data and AI in the region. And an assembly, if you haven't heard of it before, it's a fairly common public deliberation method, but basically it sets one question to residents, presents a bunch of expertise on that topic, and then asks them to make recommendations. Our specific questions to resident was just what I said, which is what does trustworthy and beneficial data and AI innovation look like in the Liverpool City region? We have 11 final principles that outline the voices of 59 Liverpool City region residents on how data and AI can work for their community. Here is a flavor of the principles that the residents voted on, ranked in order of their preference. The first one is the most obvious one you would expect in any charter like this, which is please use data and AI for good. And our residents have given us some very meaty and lovely feedback for us to share on what that specifically means to them.
Okay, hello everyone. I'm Adam Drage. I'm the Assistant Director of Innovation at Merseycare.
And I'm Michael Hanks. I'm the Principal Data Scientist at Social Finance.
So what is the project then? The project involves the 0 to 19 team practitioners in Liverpool. Essentially, we're talking about health visitors and school nurses in Liverpool, commissioned by Merseycare, but actually working in partnership with a lot of organisations. And whether it's social workers, whether it's practitioners from children's services, whether it's our own Merseycare practitioners, the biggest challenge that everyone has said, the biggest thing that stops children and young people, practitioners being able to do their job is being able to have access information from other partners about the child that they're going out to see. If you can imagine, there are lots and lots of different organisations involved in the life cycle of a child's services, but you can only see your own information. You're missing a huge part.
One of the most interesting things that I think we've done as part of this is you can imagine bringing together data from a range of different systems. You're going to run into a lot of problems in terms of trying to match individuals together. So we called upon the expertise of an organisation, a partner organisation who aren't represented here tonight, but Quantexa, who are experts in this field of basically taking records from a disparate set of systems and bringing them together to resolve into entities, as they call them. And in this case, we were looking for them to resolve both records from systems that might represent the same individual, but also building that household view. So even if we don't have, say, complete address records for everyone, trying in the best we can to build a view of which individuals belong to which households.
As we all know, we live in a world that is just awash with data, a lot of it about us and our communities and where we live. And this data is used for everything, really. It informs policy, it informs service delivery, all kinds of things in our day-to-day lives. But much of this data is really inaccessible to residents, to citizens. It's hard to find, and when they've got it, they don't always know what to do with it. This can kind of create a democratic deficit where crucial decisions are being made about where we live, but most citizens can't understand this data, let alone challenge it. So how do we aim to bridge this gap with data for communities? Well, our core aspect is about direct engagement. Data is often perceived as something clinical, abstract, often divorced from human experience, just numbers on a spreadsheet. But what we find is something quite remarkable can happen when we actually get residents to explore data, to play with it, to even collect it themselves. Numbers start to transform into meaningful insights, connecting to their own lived experience. That even like the physical act of collecting data, of say, standing on a roadside counting traffic, can actually create a real, tangible connection. People develop ownership of personally gathered data. It becomes a more direct reflection of their own lived experience.
Good evening, St Helens. This is Liverpool calling.
Talk about the bot, the data and the governance around it that we've been developing in the past sort of 10, 12 months. What we've done is we've created a new digital one front door for the council. This is in addition to the other things that we have in place at present. So whether that be, you want to contact us in person, over the phone or online via the website, you can now also get hold of us through the bot that we've called Helen. It's called Helen because we're St Helens Council. We've created this in-house, so the costs for us to do this have been really very low, apart from the cost of our own staff time to do it, and a couple of licenses that we've had to buy to use the Copilot Studio software. We've done it all ourselves. Basically what it does is it'll access all of our services that sit on our website that we've done some data enhancement to, any subsites that we have, and then any specialist data feeds that we want to give Helen to be able to see. Any query is handled through the same place. So in other words, there are no separate portals with AI that you come into for social care or children's services or when my bin is going to be emptied. You come in through the exact same front door, which is Helen. And we built so that she can handle simple and complex requests securely. And we've built some really quite complex functions at service level. This is an example of what we did first, because when people say they're doing AI, what I always say to them is, well, before you start doing AI, do the data, know what the data is, where it's coming from, how you're moderating it, and how you're going to use it. So this is what we've called our Smart Cloud Data Hub, and these are data wheels. In this particular case, it's an example of people's services and the types of things that you might see there.
Huge thank you to all of you for coming. For those of you joining us online, some really brilliant questions tonight as well. And please do join me in a round of applause for our 5 fantastic presenters this evening. Thank you very much indeed.